Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout to share for Simple Stories. I am using the True Colours collection. I am in love with this collection, it's just totally awesome. And I have pulled out from the Big Bits ephemera pack, this giant camera, and I had the idea that I would really like to see if I could fit my photograph, which is me taking a photo, inside the camera. So anyway, it worked. So it just, there we go, looks good, doesn't it? I was really pleased that that worked. So yeah, so I've just chop the middle out, fussy cut the middle out, and then I'm going to put my photo behind it. I need to chop off the top of my photo and hide or attach it to the back. I did actually raise it up on foam pads in the end behind the aperture, so that I had a bit of dimension between, or had a kind of shadow between the top of the camera and the photo of us in the background a little bit. So that looks really good. I'm super happy that that worked out. But then I was like, not quite sure what to do with this giant camera that I've got on the page. How am I going to make this look kind of coherent? So anyway, this is what I kind of ended up doing. I've got some florals that I'd already pulled out, floral ephemera, and I have tucked them either side of the camera. And then I'm kind of working on a stacked design, whereas I have everything kind of central in the middle, and I have my title underneath the camera and the take a photo underneath the camera, and the it's me at the top, with some flowers coming out from either side of the camera. But then the layout seemed very white to me, and I tend to like to use some pattern paper on all of my layouts, and I reached for this fantastic camera paper. Is just amazing, isn't it? And then a border of both of those on either side of my layout just set off that design really well. So the whole stacked vertical design thing works super well with the two vertical strips on either side. So I was really happy with how that looked. But because the camera paper is kind of white, it's actually a slight very pale pinky creamy color actually in the background, but because it doesn't read as a solid, because it has lots of small icons all over it, I was a bit worried about how it would look at the edges where it meets the white. So I decided to add really small strips of this fantastic ombre paper there. You can see there that I'm going to add those just under there, just to give it a little bit of a pop, give it some separation from the white background and give it a solid edge, which worked so well, super well. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I distressed the edges of both, so I distressed the edges of the camera paper and I distressed the edges of the green ombre as well, and then I just layered them together and stuck them in place, and that was perfect. That absolutely offset and gave my layout the border with the definition that it needed. Yeah, absolutely really happy with that and how that worked out. So they're just going in place now, so just need to make sure that I get those stuck down nicely. That narrow piece of green was really narrow, so I had to make sure that it was properly stuck, otherwise it could have escaped. Okay, so now I need to work on the middle part of my layout. I've already got the rough idea in place, but it just still doesn't feel it still feels a little empty or sparse to me, and even though I love the arrangement of how it's looking, I just felt that it needed a little something extra. So I'm coming in with a bit of pink ink, so using the picked raspberry flavor, I was going to say, color of Distress Oxide, and my ink applicator tool. So I've just added a small glow of pink ink underneath where those flowers are going to sit, and that just gives it a little bit of extra brightness and definition underneath those flowers, just adds a bit of something extra to the background. Then I have the word smile, which is from the foam stickers. I can move them around like that because I've cut them on the backing, so I've left them on the backing and then just cut them off the sheet and left it on the backing so it doesn't stick, because those, believe me, are super sticky, and once they are stuck they are not coming off. So that's I used to be able to kind of place them in position and then only very, not press them down, but I cannot do that these days. They have done something to their adhesive that it makes it super duper sticky, which is great because it means that nothing falls off, which is perfect. But it also means that you can't just tack them in place and then move them. So as I say, I've combated that by just leaving them stuck to the sticker sheet and then just cutting around the backing, and then I can move them around on the layout to make sure they sit nicely where I want them to sit, and they look right, and I can test them out in different places without committing to sticking them down. So I am just continuing to find some bits and pieces of ephemera and stickers and floral bits and bits and pieces that work. So I've pulled out some cameras, obviously, because this layout is of me taking photos. So obviously I am the photographer in the family, probably like most scrapbookers out there, and I wanted to document that. So it's quite funny to get a photo of me taking a photo, especially on an old style camera where the camera is up to my eye. Obviously we mostly all use phones these days. I do still have a DSLR camera that I use a reasonable amount, but this was not that. This was like a vintage camera that I was trying out for someone. So yeah, it was interesting to use, and I thought it was so funny that my husband snapped a photo of me taking the photo, and it was great actually, because now I have I can tell the story of me, the photographer, the one who's always behind the camera. So I just wanted to add a bit of a few clusters to the layout. So I've gone for bottom left and top right, and I added a bit of the black border sticker from the 12x12 sticker sheet, the cardstock stickers, on the left side to give it a bit of extra definition. I've added a camera there, I've added some circles, and I've got some little label stickers there from the 12x12 sheet as well that say "This is my life and good times." To the left of my photo in the camera, I'm just adding some bits there. So I've got some extra flowers, I've got a little Polaroid bit of ephemera. Over on the top right, I've got another camera, I've got the colour wheel, underneath there is a layer, I've got more flowers, and I've got some stickers in there. I'm just adding those there that say "Where's my camera?" and "Moments captured." And then I'm going to continue to add small bits and pieces. Most of this layout is kind of in place now. It's coming together really nicely. I'm super happy with how it's all looking. I've fiddled around with these two phrase stickers for a while. In theory they should have fitted really nicely at the bottom there, but I didn't like them at all. They just messed up the flow of the layout for some reason. So they had to go. So they get moved over to where they were originally, and I should have just left them well alone. They get moved over to the little cluster on the bottom left there in a moment. You'll see that happen in a minute. And I felt that my inking was a little bit tall on the left side, so I added an embellishment there to cover some of that up and make it seem a bit smaller, or to make it fit better, the embellishments that were there, if that makes sense. Just adding some of those fabulous decorative brads. I always really love using these. I love the shiny texture epoxy look that they have. So I'm just adding a few of those in, and they're all again generic and easy to use and just fabulous and bright colours and just gorgeous. I love it all. So I have added some smaller ones to the middles of the cameras, not the one with my face in, of course, and tuck them into various places. I've used some smaller ones and some bigger ones as well. Just added a little phrase up there that just says "Love this," because I felt that area there between the camera and the "It's me" and then the two little diamonds above it was a little bit on the empty side, so I needed to put something in there, so I have done. And just coming in now with some enamel dots. I always love to build up my clusters with small little dots of colour. I'm going to add some sequins as well, because they help with that too. You get more sequins in a pack than you do enamel dots, of course, so you can be a bit more liberal with them. Yes, I'm just adding those there. Just getting all of those stuck in place. You can see now that I've moved those two stickers at the bottom. I've moved them back over towards the cluster on the left, and that works much better. I was really concerned about how it messed up my the flow of my layout. Also, I didn't have anywhere to add my journaling that again wouldn't have that same problem. So what I've done is I've written it directly onto the camera in the middle, so it has lines on, so I've used those lines to write my little story. And now I'm just finishing off with some splatters of black paint. I love the contrast of the black in this collection. It really makes everything pop. So that's what I've done. So there you go, there is my completed layout. I love how it turned out. It's great fun. It's a bit different from me, and it was really fun to make, and I love that big camera in the middle. I say that's what's a bit different for me, so it's good to get out of my comfort zone. So yeah, thank you so very much for joining me today. That was Nikki Rowland for Simple Stories using the True Colours collection.